Hey, what's up, Kansas City? This is Stephen St. John with another episode of Hot Mic with SSJ. And this is a special Thanksgiving episode, so it'll be a little different. It won't be as long. I will be in here alone speaking with you and going to kind of take it in a different direction. But since it's the holidays and since it's Thanksgiving week, I do want to start off by saying how thankful I am for everyone that listens to the podcast. Of course, you can download the podcast anywhere you download your favorite podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon, and every place else. And, of course, we'd love it if you would like and subscribe on YouTube, where you can actually watch the podcast. But watch it, listen to it. We're so thankful that that you make it a part of your listening pleasure. And we're also thankful to my main man, Patrick Carter, kcfarmersagent.com, representing Farmers Insurance. He can help you save on home, life, auto, condo, business, and renters. And if you're tired of having to call an 800 number to get assistance with your insurance policy, why not go local and talk to a guy that's Kansas City born and bred, and also is a faithful listener of the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB and Hot Mic with SSJ, kcfarmersagent.com, Patrick Carter. And you can also text Hot Mic, HOTMIC, to the number 913-248-8861, 913-248-8861, and talk to Patrick Carter, kcfarmersagent.com. Thank you for helping make this podcast possible. So I mentioned that it's Thanksgiving week, and we're getting into the holidays, which, of course, is it's a great time of year for many people. But for some people, it's a very difficult time of year, and that's what I'm going to talk about just a little bit with you today. And I'll be honest with you, this is not a very comfortable topic for me to talk about, and I've been tossing this around in my head, kind of back and forth over the past couple of weeks, whether or not I was even going to do this. But so late last night, I decided I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to kind of open up and talk to people and see if I can reach them and to hopefully make a difference. And then this morning, I decided I'm not going to do that, and I will not do a podcast this week. And then I was encouraged by a few people to go ahead and do the podcast. So hopefully this turns out the way I want it to. But just to start off, I wanted to talk about, and this has been something that I've seen several NFL players and other people start to be more open and honest about, and I've seen the reaction to it, and I think that helped encourage me to want to talk about this. Just being more open and honest about mental health, which is not a very easy thing for many people to talk about. I've had a lot of issues over my life, right? I'm gonna be 49 years old next week, and just to kind of sum it up, I've seen a lot of shit. I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life, like most people have when they reach the age of 49. But throughout my life, I'm not ashamed to admit that I've battled depression for many years of my life. I've got horrible OCD, which anyone that works with me here around Union Broadcasting will tell you. That's I do some goofy ass shit. And anxiety, that's something that I've dealt with at times, paralyzing anxiety attacks, where the only person that's really known about it is my wife, who's a saint. And I've looked at her when we've been in a certain situation, a certain place, and I've given her that look, and she knows, she's been around me long enough, or she knows I got to get out of there, and I got to get home, or I got to go get into a situation where I feel safe, or I feel better. And it's something I've dealt with, I've battled with for the majority of my adult life. And for a long time, it was something that I had just kept hidden and didn't talk about because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. That's, I grew up in a tough neighborhood. You guys know the stories about my dad. He's the toughest guy that I've ever been around. And so, in the back of my head, I always thought, yeah, you got to be tough. You got to be tough. You just got to get through this. Don't complain about things. And look, from the outside looking in, and it's true, I'm blessed. I have a wonderful life. I have a wonderful wife. I have a tremendous family. I love my kids. I'm blessed with so many things. I've in my opinion the greatest job in the world. I get to get up every morning and talk about sports and talk about movies and make people laugh with a couple of my best friends in the world, and Jake and Nate, and Todd Lebo's on the show all the time, and he's one of my best friends too. And so I could sit here and do a podcast for an hour and tell you all the things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that I have a tremendous relationship with my father, because he's my only living parent. And really, that's my family. A lot of my family on my mother's side and my father's side, I either don't talk to anymore, or I really never had a good relationship with. My mom passed away. That's been well chronicled back in 2006. The other two people that I was so close with on my mom's side of the family were my grandparents. I feel like I was partially raised by them. They were like a second set of parents for me. And my mom and both my grandparents passed away all in the same year, back in 2006 when I was 33. And I'll be honest, that fucking broke me. It was, and still to this day, it's still a tremendously difficult thing that I have to go through, especially now, because the holidays for most of my life were awesome. They were great. My grandparents were known for having their big holiday celebrations, and all my aunts and uncles and cousins would be there. And we always knew, hey, we're going to be at my grandparents' house, Danny and Augie Ontiveros out in KCK, and that's where we'd be for Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, birthdays, didn't matter. And then it just seemed like all in one fell swoop. My uncle passed away from ALS, my grandparents passed away, my mom passed away, and it was gone. And so I've tried to recreate a big family with my wife. That's why I have a bunch of kids. That's why I have a bunch of friends that I consider family. And so I've tried to rebuild what I lost, but it's not always that easy, and it hasn't always been that easy for me to get through the holidays. So I went through a long time where the holidays I didn't look forward to them anymore. It was a very rough time, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are experiencing that still do experience that, and it's fucking tough, man. There was a time, because especially now with Thanksgiving come up, then it's my birthday, and my mom would get more fired up about my birthday than I even would, and then Christmas. I wanted to bury my head in the sand and not even really enjoy or even talk about the holidays or just be a part of it. I just wanted to get through it so I wouldn't be reminded of what I had lost and how difficult everything was to deal with. And I'd be bitter about seeing other people with their big families, or I'd be bitter thinking about all the times that maybe I was a jerk when I was a kid to my grandparents, to my mom, or when I wouldn't spend enough time with them. And when you're young, you want to go off and do your own thing. And you think you know more than anyone else. And what do they always say? Youth is wasted on the young. If I only knew then what I know now, right? And so it was very difficult on me for a long time. But then I was able to understand that the holidays were no longer about me. They were about my kids. They were about my family. And I had to put on a good front because who am I to ruin such a special time of year for them? And they don't know. They have no idea what's going on in my head, or they don't understand, why is Dad sad or why is Dad mad? They want to open presents. They want to have fun. They want to enjoy Thanksgiving. And so for a long time, I was able to compartmentalize and just push forward and take part and do these things like most people do, because I know no one has a perfect life. We all have demons that we have to battle. But along the way, I realized I gotta fucking stop doing this alone. I gotta reach out, and I gotta seek some help, and that's what I did. And it's still a work in progress, but I've acknowledged that I have issues, that I've battled, mental health, that I've battled depression, that I've battled my anxiety, and it just got to be too much for me to battle on my own. And so then, with the help of people that love me, I have had tried to seek help, and I feel like things are better now. And I've tried to surround myself with, positivity, not be so negative, and do just basic things to try to understand and try to make myself understand that that I have far more reasons to be positive and to be happy and to feel blessed than I do to be depressed and to be sad. But it's not always easy as that, right? You hear people say, well, what do you have to be upset about? You got a great life, you got a great family, you got a great job, and you think to yourself, why am I upset? Why am I depressed? Why am I dealing with this? Why am I feeling this way? Why does my head feel so fucked up? You don't know, and that's why you can't do it on your own. You don't know why, and you feel like, you feel like guilty that you're even going through this, and you think about it and you see other people that have different challenges and bigger challenges than you do. And that lays the guilt on you as to, why should I feel depressed? Why do I feel this way? But it's not your fault, right? It's something that's beyond your control. And the reason I'm doing this and the reason I'm talking about this is because I'd like to think that I have a good relationship with the people that listen to my show and the good people that listen to this podcast. And I'm hoping that if anyone out there, even if it's just one person, hears this and this resonates with them and they can empathize with me and they can relate to it and they can say, hey, if he's dealing with these problems, if he's dealt with these problems, then maybe it won't make that person feel so bad about dealing with their own struggles. And maybe that will give you, whoever I'm talking to out there, the confidence to reach out and try to get help. And like I said, I've got my hands full just trying to deal with my own issues, right, that I've tried to overcome in my life. And they've been deep and they've been dark, and I'm not past them yet. And who knows if I'll ever be. But I'm better. I'm better than I was a year ago. I'm better than I was 10 years ago. I think it's been talked about, pretty well documented, about my struggle with COVID. And that was fucking terrible. I mean, I was in bed for almost a month. And I'll be honest with you, with my family separated from me and, so many things going through my head and being sick and then doing the worst thing in the world and getting on Twitter and reading everything that was going on and taking into consideration, this was November of last year where we didn't know a whole lot, right? And there was no vaccination and there was not the information that there is now. There were nights I was afraid to go to sleep because I didn't know if I was going to get up. That's how sick I was. And it was one of the most awful things I've gone through. And it took a long time to bounce. I still think I'm bouncing back from that. I still have some issues, physical issues from my battle with COVID that I'm still trying to overcome with the help of some tremendous doctors. But that was a challenge as well. And I know with the way the world is right now, there's a lot of people because of COVID, not just if you've battled COVID, but maybe you've lost your job, or maybe you're not making the same amount of money, or maybe the uncertainty of what's going on in the world around us has caused to cause you to have more anxiety or to have more mental health challenges. There could be a variety of reasons why you have issues, but I'm here to say that you got to reach out and talk to someone. You got to reach out and seek help. Don't do it by yourself. I thought I was being a tough guy and just trying to swallow all my problems and deal with them on my own. And that was the worst thing in the world that I could have done. Now that I've talked to professionals, now that I've been open and honest to the people around me, and I try to go by 3 F's that I remember now that really try to ground me. I think they ground me and they help me. My faith, my family, and my friends. And if I remain steadfast and believe and hold dear my faith and my family and my friends, I feel like that centers me and that keeps me in a positive direction. But not everyone has those things. And for some people, the holidays can be a lonely time for whatever reason. And so, and like I said, I'm not a professional. All I'm suggesting is if you're having problems, if you're battling your mental health, if you're battling anxiety, battling depression, you're not alone. And there are people out there that you may not know that are going through this, that fighting that same battle. And it's important for me to let people know that I have gone through it. I am going through it. I'll continue to go through it without giving up. I'm not going to give up, and I don't want you to either. And so I just took a page from mentalhealth.gov, where you can go to get more information. And it says here, people often don't get the mental health services they need because they don't know where to start. Talk to your primary care doctor or another health professional about mental health problems. Ask them to connect you with the right mental health services. If you do not have a health professional who is able to assist you, use these resources to find help for yourself, your friends, your family, or your students. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255. You could also, like I said, go to mentalhealth.gov, and you can get more information about perhaps help for you, and not just help for you, help for someone that's close to you. If you feel like someone's going through something that you don't quite understand, and maybe they don't understand it as well, you have no idea what that could mean to somebody if you just tell them that you're there to listen. And if that's not going to work, reach out on behalf of somebody and try to get them help. Just don't ignore it. I had a cousin that battled a lot of these issues and battled addiction. And we were very close. And I was one of those people for him that he would call and ask for help. And we talk about things, get deep into things. And we could just never quite connect exactly on what was causing all of his issues, his internal issues and his struggles. And unfortunately, we lost him. And he was in his 40s. We were kids. We lived together for a couple of years when we were kids, and I feel like I let him down in some way. I know at the end of the day that I didn't, but if I could go back, I would love to have a second chance to talk to him and see if I could intervene in a different way. But sometimes there's no right answer, right? But I do wish that I would have, instead of putting that on me to try to help him, I wish I could have helped him seek professional help and somebody that was qualified to actually help him get through his addiction and his issues that ultimately took him away from us. And so that's another thing that motivates me to have this conversation and to have this discussion with you today. So again, it's the holidays. We're all supposed to be happy. We're all supposed to be jovial, and most people are, and it's great. And I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas. I love my family. I love to be around friends and celebrate and enjoy these things. But not everyone feels that way. And there were times, long stretches of my life, that I didn't feel that way. And sometimes there's moments when it's challenging and it's a battle, right? Sometimes I wake up and I think, do I even want to get out of bed and face all this shit that's going on in the world? And so you're not alone. It's all right to feel down. It's all right to feel this way and have these doubts. But again, the most important thing that I want you to take away from this, number one, you're not alone. Number two, seek help. Talk to somebody. Reach out to somebody. And if you think someone's going through that right now, you reach out to them. Don't wait, all right? Don't hesitate, because you could live with regret not trying to make that connection. And again, look, my mother, and this is something I've never opened up about on the air or anything like this. My mom and I were like this, we were best friends. And I remember when I was a kid, I'd either be sitting, next to her, holding her hand. I'm talking, maybe 4 or 5, 6 years old. We'd be watching TV or whatever, and I'd grab her arm, and I'd see scars on her arms. And you're a kid, you don't think about those things. And I'd ask, where are the scars from? And she just, I had an accident and before you were born. And I never really thought about it. But then as you get older, you start to think about those things. And finally, I just asked my mom, what are those scars, really from? And that led to a 3-hour conversation about my mom. Before I was born, my mom attempted suicide. And and clearly she was in a deep, dark place, and she did seek treatment. She did seek help, thankfully, and she was able to turn her life around. But that was a eye-opening experience for me, because even though it was before I was born, it was the person that I cared about more than anything that had gone through something like that. So then after that, I was very cognizant of that. And then I understood that it could be anyone going through anything that could cause those type of doubts or issues. Or and look, if I sat there and told you throughout my life I never had those thoughts, I'd be lying. I think most people do have those doubts and times where you question everything. So again, if you ever have those thoughts during the holidays, if you ever have those questions, 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255. Reach out to somebody. Hell, send me an email. I'll answer you back. I'll talk to you. And so again, I always say on the air that I care about my listeners. I care about the people that invest their time into listening to me on the radio, or now listening or watching my podcast. And so that's why it's very important to me. And I've been wanting to do this for years and years, but I just never had the guts, right? And just something finally clicked, and I was encouraged to do this, and hopefully it's going to be taken in a way that I want it to be. And that's all it is I want people out there to know that you're not alone. And so if you are watching this or listening to this, I can only assume that you're a fan of my show, or you like me, what I have to say, or whatever. You feel some kind of connection. Maybe you love Nate and Jake and you don't like me, whatever. And so I just feel very strongly that if indeed we do have that connection, if you have been a fan of what I've had to say over the last, 2 decades on the airwaves, then maybe this will mean something to you. And maybe this can make a difference in, hell, it'll be worth it if it's one person. And so again, the message is, I've gone through it. I'm going through it. I've reached out and realized that you're not a tough guy or a tough gal if you just try to go through it on your own. Okay? It takes guts, and you're tough if you reach out and ask for help. That's the tough part. That's the toughness. And, we kid about this all the time. I cry all the time, and sometimes it's all right, because instead of internalizing everything, I get it out, and I'm emotional, and I feel better about it. And so don't be ashamed of any of these things that you're going through that maybe that you share with me or you share with others, because there's a hell of a lot more people that battle this on a daily basis than we realize. There's people that you work with. There's people that you know that maybe you have no idea, right? Because we do a really good job of hiding things. I've done a really good job of hiding things and hiding my emotions, hiding my feelings over the years. Some people say, well, how do you have anxiety? Like, I have crippling social anxiety at times, right? How do you have anxiety? You get up in front of 1,000 people at charity events, or you do this or do that, and you're hosting watch parties at P&L. Man, let me tell you something. There have been times, and I'm not shitting you, there have been times when I'm getting ready to go do an event like that, and I look at my wife and I say, I can't do it. There's no fucking way. I'm not getting in front of that crowd with that microphone, and I just about shut down. Now, she's been with me long enough where she knows what to say and help me get through it. And I'll be honest with you, there's 1 or 2 times when I just haven't been able to do something. And I say, you know what? It's not good for me. I'm just going to stay home and fight my way through this. And so, again, don't let people tell you, well, that your situation, you shouldn't feel this way, you shouldn't feel that way. You feel any way you feel with no explanation. It's how you feel. You can't control it. And so, again, if I've gone through it, if I've dealt with it, then hopefully that gives you at least an idea that you can get support and you can get help, right? And hopefully if you're hearing this right now, you're listening to this, and you think you might need help, or there are issues that you've let go long enough, maybe this will motivate you to do something about it, and to make that phone call or to reach out to somebody. And if you do, then this whole embarrassing podcast has been worth it. And again, this just comes from my heart because I truly do, again, the week of Thanksgiving, I care about the people that listen to my show. I care about the people that listen to this podcast because if it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do the job that I do. And trust me, don't get me wrong. I love my job. I love Kansas City. I love what I do as much as anyone possibly could. But that doesn't mean I don't have issues. That doesn't mean I don't have problems. And I still deal with the I wake up like, why am I depressed? What? But there's no answer sometimes. But that's why you got to seek help. And you got to talk to people that they have a lot better handle on things like that than you do. And so that's it. That's the message I wanted to convey. Hopefully it made sense. I feel like I was kind of rambling a little bit. But again, this is just about being open and being honest and no longer being ashamed of having to deal with the challenges that I've dealt with the anxiety and the depression. I'm proud that I have realized what my issues were and that I have been able to seek treatment and seek help. So instead of being ashamed about it, I'm proud of it. And I'm proud that I feel like I've made strides. I'm getting better. And so, and if you're going through this with all my heart, I hope that you take those same steps that I did, and somewhere down the road you can look back and say, you know what, I made the right decisions, and now I feel better. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been a little bit of a different episode, but it's something that I've wanted to get off my chest for a long time. And and the Border Patrol and on 810 really wasn't the right spot. And I felt like hot mic with SSJ and just me being able to talk right to you on this podcast, this felt like the right time. I don't know if it's ever going to be the right time, but I did it. And so hopefully you can understand that. But we'll be back next week. I'm going to take a little time off to get to spend some time with my family and my friends and to recharge my batteries and hopefully get ready for a Chiefs playoff run. But we'll be back next week with a far more entertaining podcast and hopefully do something that I love more than anything else in the world, and that's making you laugh. And if you tell me I made you laugh, then you have made my day. So until next week, the microphone is off.